What's going on, everybody? David Kurz here with Kurz Real Estate, coming to you with another episode of our Take Action podcast and show. Everybody, listen up, man. Real Talk is coming up, Real Talk Conference. I need you guys to go ahead and go to realtalkcon.com and pick up your tickets immediately. And the reason that I'm saying this right off the bat, because I'm sitting with Mr. James Ustun, who is the owner, operator, runner, boss man of the home team at Freedom Mortgage, who's, if I'm not mistaken, the largest team at Freedom Mortgage, right?
We're the largest retail group within Freedom Mortgage.
Right.
We started close to a decade ago, myself and Brandon Sturman, my partner, and we just had a lot of commonality, very entrepreneurial spirit. We got married young, had kids young, the whole nine. We really clicked, It's always good when personal and business can overlap well like that. And today we're opening our 16th location in 6 states. So
that's crazy, because when you hear team, right, you don't often think 16 locations, 6 states.
Right.
You think team, you think very local. And most people, and it's not because they're small-minded, it's mainly because they're uneducated in the ability to expand, right? So how have you expanded state over state over state?
I think a successful blueprint that works well in one area, you can scale, right? And our culture is a lot different than most mortgage offices. We're a share and share alike organization. We split a lot of transactions. We feel that if someone's better suited to deal with a referral source, we'll switch, we'll intermingle, we'll listen to what is working, what isn't working, and we try to grow, and not just grow by the way we think.
Right.
To quote Steve Jobs, why put smart people around you if you're not going to listen to them? Right? It's the truth. So, and I laugh all the time. I say, you can be me. Because if 5 of you become me, who am I? It's the way it
You're
should
the
be.
average. And so it's funny that you say that, because I'm always telling people, surround yourself with people you aspire to be like or respect.
Correct.
Right? Simple enough. You don't even have to aspire to be like them, but respect them in their industry, in their game, in their hustle, and whatever it is that they do.
Without question. And I think it's Richard Branson who talks about that, and he says, I can't remember his exact line. We'll pull back to it. It'll come back to me in a minute.
I always joke around. So Think and Grow Rich had something like that, right?
Yes.
Talked about, take your income, right? Napoleon Hill, take your income, or take the average income of the 5 people you hang out with the most, and you'll know your income for this year, right? And I thought that was really impressive. And then I took that back. So I'm Puerto Rican, right? And in my house, in any Puerto Rican house, pretty much in any Latin home, right, they will tell you, like, you are who you're with, right? And in Spanish says, eres con quien anda, right? So you are who you're with, right? So when you're trying to hang out with, like, the cool kid who, like, gets in some trouble, like, you're at that age where you're like, I want to hang out because I want to fit in, right? My mom would always say that you can hang out with them if you want to, but you are who you're with,
100%. Right?
So I would say, Mom, but you know me, I don't act like that, I don't do that stuff. Yes, but again, when the police show up, you are who you're with,
100%.
And so, and who knew that would actually translate to something so much bigger, so much greater, like when we opened up our office, I went in with a huge mindset, I mean, we signed a 3,000 square foot lease with a team of 5.
I love it.
And we were like, well, we better fill this space real quick.
Come, right?
Yeah,
As
right. So, and I found it impressive that, for us as an office, we want to start to cultivate relationships in the state of Florida right now. We intend to open in Broward, Palm Beach. We want to open in Orlando, right? Maybe even Pensacola, because all the craziness that happened there.
Sure.
There's opportunity there now to help people rebuild and restructure and put lives back together. We want to be a part of that, right? But then there's a state line, right? So I think to myself, how do I get a Kurz Real Estate in Atlanta? How do I get a Kurz Real Estate in Staten Island, right? So typically, guys, I'm coming to you from Miami. Today, I'm coming to you from Staten Island because James was gracious enough to bring us out here to participate with the Staten Island Board of Realtors at the Top Producer event, right?
Yeah,
Top Producer Breakfast and Symposium.
Yes, Top Producer Breakfast, top 200 agents. They give out the varied levels, bronze, silver, gold, and then team awards. And then they have a trade show. They try to bring in some dynamic guests that can enhance the real estate business.
Right.
So it's a good event. We've been sponsoring this breakfast for close to a decade, and we're glad that you came out to support us.
I appreciate it. I appreciate.
I remember, before you go, I remember what he said, Mr. Branson. He says, if you train people and they leave you, right? I forget exact wording, but if they train people and they leave you because you train them too well, but what if you don't train them and they stay? Right?
Yeah,
and
that's
it's a very
worse.
valid point.
That's worse.
I had to come back to it.
Yeah,
guys.
and that's cool that you said that, because like my wife said something to me once, and she's, you know, because she has her team, and my wife said, man, you know, I'm always sometimes I'm afraid to give everything I have, because you know they're just going to go and do it on their own. Why stay with the team, right? And I said, you stay with the team because of the culture, the environment, the family, the business, the networking, the opportunity. That's why you stay with the team, not because you became because you're dumbed down or you became too knowledgeable, so now it's okay to leave, right? And if they do leave, great. And if you do it better, I'm that guy. If you do it better than me,
Fantastic.
give me the reach around, man. If I helped you get to that point and then you surpass me, tell me what you did different so I can grow as well, right?
But you helping in someone else's success is an attribute to your own success, and the
Right.
fact that you're willing to help other people, which
Right.
is what it's all about.
Right.
People leave, people come, you know, and God bless. If they could do it better than me, like you said, I'm all
Please,
for it.
by all
I never
means.
hate success. And
No,
a lot of people
man.
do,
A lot of
right?
people do.
A lot of people do, because it's
Trust
not
me, I
hating
know.
you. It's really hating themselves
Yeah.
for lack of ambition or motivation or not being able to accomplish something.
Right.
And you know, I've just never lived my life that way. Karma's a real thing to me, and I think what you do to other people generally comes back.
Right.
Treat people right, and you should live a good life.
Yeah, you should live a good life. I feel like I really need to come back to, how do you end up in multiple states?
So for us, initially, it was New York into New Jersey, right? So there's a migration pattern. We were in Brooklyn, and we were in Staten Island. So a lot of you guys coming in from Miami, even though Miami is considered the sixth borough, right?
Right.
A lot of people move out there. They don't always know the migration, but it's traditionally Brooklyn to Staten Island to New Jersey, and New Jersey to Florida.
Right.
So originally, the line of thought was kind of carry that migration, because if I get a client starting in Brooklyn, I can probably create a client for life as long as I
Right.
do my job well.
Right.
So I'm getting these people on the way purchasing their first home or selling and downsizing, however you trickled
The
it.
long game, man. The long game. Trying to get across the whole field.
Well, of course.
Right?
Listen,
Not just the next couple yards, but a whole field.
and what happens a lot of times in what we do is we're just looking about today and not tomorrow.
Right.
But, you know, and freedom, even away from the home team, they have a very strong methodology of a customer for life. And we've also incorporated that into our day-to-day. If you can create an exceptional service, because nowadays, and it's funny, I just posted a video on Facebook and Instagram, we were talking about this, it's not about standards anymore. It's about exceeding expectations, because if someone comes to you, you should be able to sell their home.
Right.
Right? But you may do it in a quicker and get them top dollar, and you may be more personable and really
Right.
get to know the person and listen.
Right.
A lot of times we don't listen. We look at our side of things.
Right, right.
Happens with a lot of buyer's agents, and we hear the blowback. They're not showing
Right.
me houses I like. They're not listening to what I have to say. But you know, we have really just migrated, back to your original question, migrated along that line, and through that progression and seeing that our blueprint and model and culture worked well, we just took on additional opportunities.
Right.
And they've all worked out thus far.
That's awesome. I applaud you.
Yeah, thank you. You as well, though.
How long have you been the home team?
So, before we were quote unquote the home team, really probably 5 years, but we've always been the home team. We just didn't brand ourselves that way.
Right.
You know, it was just a matter of turning that switch and putting the branding into play.
Right. But that, so do you say that branding helped a lot with growth?
I do. I attribute a lot having to do with branding, a lot with word of mouth, a lot with investing in people. You know, like I said before, if you're not going to invest in yourselves and your staff to grow the business, and really invest in the real estate relationships.
Right.
Because if I'm not willing to make my investment and help your business grow, I'm another mortgage guy.
Right.
So there has to be a separation point. And listen, a lot of times that you fail with investments, they don't all work. But if you can minimize your failures and identify them early and capitalize on your successes, you're usually more successful.
Right.
But it's not always an easy thing to do.
So I have a thing, and everyone that watches my show knows this, is I don't even say the word failure. So, and the reason that I don't say it is because I'm very passionate about this particular subject. Actually, my next book is completely about this subject.
Great.
But the idea of failure has been implemented in this generation and the next generation's mind so much that they actually do think it's okay to fail because you will learn from it. Not the other way around where it was back in the day where failure is not an option, right? And you had to do your research, your homework, understudy, mentor, do whatever you needed to do to set a pattern, like you just said, to be able to identify things ahead of time so that you don't face failure, right? And I also don't believe that having a hiccup in your business is a failure. A lot of people call that a failure. That's a learning experience. Those two things are not the same, right? For me, failure is you fall into a corner, you cry, you die. That's it. That's failure. You gave up, right? And so I always tell people, like, you know, I tell them, listen, I spent a long time in the Marine Corps, right? I said, you know, do you guys know the Marine Corps motto, right? You know, Semper Fidelis, always faithful, right? That's the Marine Corps motto. And it's also do or die, kill, 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 all that other great stuff, right? Imagine if the Marine Corps motto was, if we fail, we'll learn from our mistake.
Wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work. The Marine Corps would be a very weak structure. And would you feel safe?
Sure.
In America, you wouldn't feel too safe.
I wouldn't.
You really wouldn't feel safe. If the entire military adapted failure as an option, you wouldn't feel safe. So why is it okay for us to adapt it in the one thing that creates a livelihood for ourselves and our family, our businesses?
You know, it's funny because failure probably was the wrong word, because I do look at it the same as you. And I do look at everything as a learning experience.
And I'm glad that you said that. Failure was a wrong word, but you said it because it's ingrained. It's just, it's become a part of our language today. From Tony Robbins to Gary Vaynerchuk to what's his name, Grant Cardone, to everyone says fail forward. Gary Keller, fail. He's the most famous. Fail forward, right? Like I think that's so stupid to tell generations of people, oh, it's okay to fail because you'll learn from it. No, it's not okay to fail. Why don't you try to learn before, and then if you have a hookup, learn from that, right? I call them hiccups, right? Learn from your hiccup and then roll right through it, man. Like plow right through it, you know?
Well, as they say, right, when your back's against the wall, you have two options. You fall down or you fight back.
Right.
So I get it. And like I said, failure was probably the wrong word. I do learn from everything that has been a hiccup, as you like to put it.
Right, right.
But it is important in the growth process.
It is.
When you start out, I'm in the mortgage business close to 2 decades. And where I was at that point early on in my career, you know, selling a loan, just the process of selling a loan and speaking to a consumer and understanding, you know, how to interact with people.
It's a learning experience, yeah.
20s, right?
It's a learning experience.
It was, even though a lot would say they were failures, those lost deals made me gain so many more transactions.
And so much more knowledge.
Because I learned from it, because I didn't quit. Failure comes into play when you quit.
When you quit,
then
when you're done. When you do 10 deals that fall apart and you go, nah, I can't do this anymore, I'm going back to Walmart.
Without question.
Right? No disrespect to everyone that works at Walmart, but I'm just saying, like, you know, we were talking about this yesterday, and I said, man, in the last crash, I was around for the last crash, right? And so when the crash happened, I saw how many Lamborghini driving, penthouse having, real estate pros went back to waiting tables or working a register, however they could pay the bills, man, whatever they had to do to support their families, and I applaud them for that. However, anyone could sell in a high market, right? It's how you hold up in a slower market, you know?
Which is going to happen again.
Right.
We're overdue for a correction.
Right.
None of us hope it happens, right?
Right.
But the cyclical average, we're well past that point.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen.
And honestly, I don't believe it's going to be as bad as the last one.
No.
In no way, form, or shape, you know?
I don't know.
But there will be a correction, which I'm sorry, Mr. and Mrs. Consumer, but I'm excited about, because a lot of people are going to fall off the table. Yeah.
I was going with it.
You know, it's gonna. I call it. Some people call it correction. I call it the cleanup.
Yeah, 100%.
You know.
Well, think about it, right? When you have a ton of people in an industry, because it's easy, right? It was easy to make money prior to 2008.
Right.
It was, whether on the real estate side or on the mortgage.
It was stupid easy.
It didn't matter. Now
we had janitors buying $500,000 condos in Miami Beach. 100%. I mean, just insane.
Well, the money was free. You didn't need to qualify. It was a totally different.
All they had to do was say they made X amount of dollars. That was
wild
it.
That it was even like that. But you know, I was a very call center driven guy. I did a ton of refinances early in my career. I had to rebrand myself from 2008 to 2010. I was almost one of those casualties. not that I ever really was willing to leave, right?
Yeah.
Inside, I said, I'm never going to give up.
Right.
But there were points where I said, maybe this just isn't going to go where I wanted it to go.
Right.
And I took a step back, a deep breath, and I entered into a different type of market, which was referral-based.
Right.
And I started cultivating relationships, and really it was the best business and financial decision I could have ever made.
Good
Because
deal.
if I didn't do that, and I didn't put my head down, I didn't say I'm willing to rebrand, I wouldn't be where I am today, But the most money's made sometimes running into a burning building.
Yep.
Not out.
Yep. I agree with you. I became the short sale specialist. I mean, I killed it in the short sale market. People hated it. They didn't want to do it. I was like, hey, I'm hooking up with you, and you, because you're all attorneys and you all do foreclosure defense. I'm going to be your guy. Let's go. And then we even set things up where some of them were licensed. Like attorneys, it's very easy for them to get a real estate license. So we did the deals together. I would pull in the deal. They would do all the negotiation of the short sale, and we would work as a team.
That's great.
So those things are so important, man. I'm glad to have this conversation with you. I'm very impressed with your business. And we've had great conversations, and I'm hoping that the world gets to see who the home team is and who James is, and and more than anything, I appreciate these guys for becoming a diamond sponsor for the Real Talk Conference. So you'll see more of them at the conference, and it's going to be such a great event. So guys, make sure that you're registered for the conference, realtalkcon.com. If you are interested in going to our exclusive mastermind, there's only 35 seats available. Actually, there's only 17 left, but 35 total available. I need you to come out to the mastermind. It's realtalkmastermind.com. And if you want to reach out to me directly, you want to find a way to connect with me, it's davidadamkurz.com. On there, you could figure out every way to connect with me: phone, Instagram, Facebook, businesses, everything I'm involved in is on there. Tell everybody how to get in touch with you.
So James Ustun, you could direct call at 347-853-0553. New website still in development, so I can't give it out yet.
All right. Well, you heard it.
Thank you for the time, man. I really appreciate you guys coming out too. This isn't
this is fun.
I really appreciate it.
This is fun. This is fun, and I think for us, it's double-sided. We get to connect with you and your team more. We get to promote the mastermind in the conference, but more than anything, honestly, is being able to make connections outside of the box. Being able to talk to people and being able to be introduced to people who are real players in Staten Island that will allow us an opportunity to create long-term relationships. So I appreciate that from you, man.
Which is important.
Yeah.
I'll leave you guys with this on my side. When you start going into different states and seeing the way real estate, you would think it's the same or similar everywhere.
It's not, man.
It is not. It's unique. Staten Island's a unique borough even within New York. But when you start traveling and you start seeing the intricacies of how people, like we were just talking about the different conventions, right? What it is where you are, what it is here. It's really cool, and I advise everybody to step outside of their local box because you learn more and you become better. Yep. You can only grow from these experiences. So.
I agree, and I'm glad that you said that. I oftentimes tell people that one of the reasons that we've grown so quickly and so strongly is because I was able to step out of our Miami bubble and go learn from people in San Diego, Los Angeles, Missouri, Michigan, Minneapolis. Like I can keep going, And so being able to have those experiences and bring them back home and apply them to our business and see if it works in our market or not, that's a whole other thing, right?
And you're always a trendsetter.
Yeah.
Even if you're not the true trendsetter, you're still a trendsetter in your area.
You're a trendsetter in your area.
Switching it up.
Well, thanks for being on the show with me, man. I really appreciate it, dude. This is exciting. Thank you guys for tuning in. You know how to get in touch with us. We'll see you next week at 4 o'clock.